Oh, hi everyone. This is going to be a short little introduction to something about Haumea with Kelley Hunter, the beautiful Kelley Hunter, who has very kindly agreed to come on and give us a little interview beforehand because she is coming to the Astrology Collective. I should have introduced myself and us, but oh well, we'll get there. I'm Lynette Malone from the Astrology Collective, and this is Kelley Hunter, um, astro-mythologist extraordinaire who has enlightened us and given us her creativity and her very deep thoughts for many, many years in a lot of research. And these days, there's a lot of research going into the Kuiper Belt planets. We call them planets, yes. I'm not even
I don't know
sure.
what we call them.
Those Kuiper Belt energies that have rocked,
Energies. I like
yes,
that.
yes,
Yeah.
they are energies and they have rocked our world. So Kelley is going to come along and give us her talk on Haumea on the weekend of March 7th and 8th, I think it is. It's Saturday
Mm.
evening for anyone in the USA or Canada or Mexico, and it is Sunday morning or early afternoon for anybody in Australia or New Zealand. And unfortunately, the middle of the night if you're in the UK, but you can get the recording afterwards. So go look it up in Astrology Collective if you want to find out about that. But in the meantime, knowing that Kelley was coming along really sort of made me stop and think, Haumea, what do I even know about these planets? What do any of us really know? And how can we know about these planets?
Good
So
question.
yeah.
Excellent question, Lynette. Yes. Because I
Well,
think it's like a new realm of our solar system. And
exactly.
we have several realms, from the personal
Mm.
planets, the social planets, the collective planets, the asteroid belt, the outer planets. And now we have this whole new realm. And one of the most exciting things about it to me is that um, most of them are being named for indigenous creator gods and goddesses from around the world. And I think that's absolutely fabulous, to move us beyond the Greco-Roman and to move us into a more global awareness and global cultures. And one of the things I feel most strongly about is since these creator deities are from certain cultures, and it mainly is the astronomers that named them from for one reason or another. I think they kind of channel some kind of thing to get the names, but that we need to honor the culture. That to some extent, I feel that we can't divorce our interpretations from something inherent in the culture or the land itself where these arose from. So I feel really strongly about that and try to honor that as as we can also use the mythologies. We can also, as astrologers, be using like where are they moving? How are they visiting you? When you have a visitation, there's an opportunity to engage with this energy and feel it in and work with it on the level that's inviting us into, which I think is a kind of quantum level. We're quantum everything these days. So to me, these reflect that new level we're going into in this amazing awakening of consciousness and this awareness also of the unified field that is starting to be woven together more than before, I think. Do you feel that?
I do. And there's a lot to unpack there in everything that you said. I think you managed to kind of give me dot points on all of the different things that one can look at with these. But yeah, I suppose I have to confess that, when they first started coming in, obviously they were important, but I mean, I like to think of myself as a bit of a maverick free thinker, but like a lot of astrologers, I probably, no offense, astrologers, but there is a part of us that likes to have everything neatly packaged. And, that's part of the appeal of astrology. And I was like, why are these people attributing all of these qualities to energies that they've only just discovered? And how can you say with any kind of truth, that that is what that energy is about? And I mean, that's what I thought a few years ago, but I do not think that now. And so that's my evolution. But also just this kind of gradual awareness that these are energies, firstly, and that we can actually feel them. Because my other thing was, because I used astrology since I was like 12 and I was really young, and it was the 1970s, and people were talking about the outer planets. I don't know, you might remember this. People would talk about the outer planets, Uranus, Neptune, Pluto, and go, "Oh, those planets are cosmic. They don't have anything to do with us personally. They're just about the big world events and the big shifts in consciousness." And I went, oh, okay, but I want to feel these energies. I want it. I want to feel that. I've got an Aries
Yeah.
ascendant. Yeah, and I do feel that. And over all of my many years of having some major outer planet transits and getting to feel the energy of how that affected my Mercury, my thinking style, or my Venus, or my Mars, or whatever, I really got to know those energies. And I feel like I'm pretty tuned in and I can place them. And now these new energies have come along, which have kind of taken the role in some way of what the outer planets were 50 years ago. Like, oh my God, they're so big, they've got to be to do with collective consciousness. But at the same time that has happened, our collective consciousness, I mean, we all know, that there is not that kind of separation anymore between inner and outer. We're much more aware of the fact that one reflects the other, that our personal journeys and our personal work and our personal revelation that we all have to do on very human, ordinary level is very, very connected to what is happening in the Gestalt and the consciousness
Yeah.
collectively. And that
Yeah.
is very connected to these outer planets, these Kuiper belt energies, sorry. So I'm a total convert. And the second thing, please stop me. Stop me if you actually want to say but the culture, what you said about the culture, that's deep to me because it was something I only just recently started to think about. I mean, I was just very happy that we're no longer stuck in this very patriarchal stories from, the Roman culture that had appropriated all of the astrological personal planets. And, work has been done on shifting that. But then a lot of this energy that's now coming in from the Kuiper belt is the feminine, but also it's new to us. It's a new way of looking at things. And
Yeah.
Hawaiian culture, Hawaiian knowledge, wisdom. You don't even have to be an astrologer. People who are uninterested in astrology but are on their spiritual journey are now going and learning wisdom from Hawaiian teachers. So the whole Hawaiian culture is like coming in for us. Mm,
Yes, yes. And that's one reason Haumea is especially interesting.
mm.
And then there's another farther one out, way far out, that's also been given a Hawaiian name, and that's
Lelika.
Lelea Kuhonua.
Ah,
And we're not going to talk about that
yeah,
today, but I find it fascinating that there are
yeah,
two that are
yeah,
Hawaiian names.
yeah,
And this Hawaiian culture is very, very old. I
yeah.
do have a very strong sense that it's Lemurian in
Mm,
the when we go back. And I have a very long memory of Lemuria from my
okay.
teen years. Apart from astrology, I read about Mu and Atlantis, and just felt
Right.
those
Yeah.
something ancient there that was calling to me. So Haumea, um, is especially interesting, I think, to us these days, because it's been working with Pluto. It's in the last number of years as Pluto's been moving from Capricorn into Aquarius. Haumea has been moving from Libra into Scorpio. They were doing it like in tandem.
Yeah.
And many of us born in, oh, even very late 40s, all through the 50s into the 60s, have Haumea and Pluto conjunct. Some
Mm.
of us in Leo and some of us in Virgo. So it's interesting, it's taken that long for those two planets to come into a square
Yeah.
and get activated. And for those of us who have that conjunction, this is really, really significant. And we are called up to kind of work with this.
Feel it.
And one way in which I felt that was last year in 2025, I went to Hawaii, especially the island of Kauai, where I'd been in 1972. And I
Wow.
hadn't been since. So that was almost like a Chiron, 50-year revisit. And of course, it had changed a lot. But there I was where I'd been before. So saying that we can take that farther,
Yeah.
that where I've been before, like
Yeah.
how long ago. But so I was watching the water a lot. It was winter, so it was kind of a lot of water surges. And I was watching these huge waves come in and crash upon the shore, and then they'd come back. And then the undertow would be pulling the waves out even while the new waves were coming in. And and these were powerful waves, so even the
Mm.
undertow was pretty strong. And then the waves, incoming waves would go over the outgoing waves. And when they met, the two what do you call them? The cresting parts would kind of intersect and make a kind of foamy expression, like the meeting of the in and the outgoing, much like what you were talking about with the internal and the external. We're living from the inside out as much as we can these days because of our level of consciousness. So we've invited these planets in. So as the outgoing wave is still strong enough to you can see it still after that first meeting with an incoming wave, and then it hits another one, and there's this other, kind of evocation of foam, and the
Yeah.
stronger wave is coming in and it crashes, and the same thing goes on. So I was feeling like Pluto's taking the things out and Haumea's bringing the things in because
Oh God. Yeah.
she's a birthing goddess.
Yeah.
And so she, as a creator goddess, she births everything.
Mm.
And she uses different parts of her body to birth. And part of my question to her as she was moving from Libra into Scorpio, squaring Pluto, was first of all, like, how does she decide what to create? And then I realized, well, that's a very Libra question. That's not even relevant when she's in
Yes.
Scorpio. She's not going to decide. She's just going to feel that deep intensity, that passion of creativity arising and, needing to be, expressed. So that it's more about the passionate feeling coming forth rather than a decision. So that was one of my experiences. And, I was born in 49, and I have that conjunction of Pluto and Haumea right on my ascendant. So,
Oh.
Lynette, I never took I
Yeah.
always took Pluto rather personally.
Wow.
Yeah. But I
That's
keep
amazing.
forgetting to include Haumea, and I'm having to do that more. And I find that it has influenced my creative output. And I think a lot of we Pluto and Leo people have that, necessity to kind of create and express. And Haumea brings more to that. And for the placement in Virgo, it's going to be rather different and much more connected to nature and earth energies and our own body experience. Um, so when we haven't had too many Haumea generations yet,
Yeah. I mean,
So
it's going to be fascinating to actually research, people from the different generations. I mean, like you, I have the Pluto Haumea conjunction at the end of Leo, and it's in my fifth house, square conjunct Jupiter, square Saturn. So it's kind of part of this major dynamic. But I mean, I didn't know that. None of us knew that, did we? We just saw the
yes, but
Pluto.
now that you
Yeah,
know that, what does that
yeah.
mean to you?
Well, it's just coming up conjunct my moon now, square Pluto.
Oh,
So,
okay. Well,
yeah, so yeah, what does it mean? I mean, that I don't want to try and find a quick answer to that,
right,
but I
right.
mean, one
No.
thing I feel like, and I know that the Pluto in Leo people have been accused of being a little narcissistic on a whole, and there is that aspect of the Leo generation where we're kind of been accused by the younger ones of like me generation,
Well,
and
that's who we are. That's who we are.
yeah, but I think that's just, I mean, obviously, that's just a lowest level vibration of it. And really, it's about the need to create the expressive self and and yeah, Hamea's probably had a lot more to do with it than we realize. So, I mean, Haumea
Yes.
coming into Scorpio is personal for me too. And I've had exactly the same thought as you. I was like, I just thought about Haumea in Libra. These were my thoughts this morning as I had my morning coffee. um, Haumea in Libra, I just think about how every street corner has a spiritual center, what feels like that. There's so many spiritual things. People got involved in a lot of stuff in that time. And that was like, we were just learning that discernment in a sense of what will I create. Like we had to explore and create, and maybe it was more on a mental level. Whereas now, 100% see what you're saying. That now, with the Pluto there as well, I just loved that analogy of the waves, but also because it's Scorpio, and, Scorpio is Pluto and Mars, and it's deep. I mean, things have now I'm going to create from something that the essence of who I am is going to come up and
Yes,
it's going to
that's
create.
it. And
Yeah,
that's that I don't know if I want to call it evolution, but the awakening of the
yeah,
Pluto and Leo
yeah,
people is,
yeah,
I am me.
yeah,
And but
yeah,
we're transforming the small s self, the ego
yeah.
self, the self self,
Exactly.
into
Yeah.
the capital S self, the higher
Yeah.
self.
Yeah.
And in some way, because I was like wondering, like, how did you get the spiritual groups thing from Haumea and Libra? And because we were creating relationships at that point
Yeah, you're
with
right. All
another
the
level to them.
yeah,
So
yeah,
something like
yeah,
that.
yeah. All the I suppose as somebody who was always quite insular in a way, I suppose I was looking out and seeing all these, you know, that people were forming, or like as you say, they're forming a relationship with different ideas and relationship with different people and creating,
Mhm.
various groups. I just want to give a big shout out and appreciation to Pluto Haumea people in Leo, which is a lot of the people in my group as well are from that generation. I guess because I have children, and I think a lot about the dilemmas and questions that people kind of 20 and 30 years younger than us have. And there has been a bit of anger towards our group. And I just think now, I'm looking back and I'm thinking, but we're actually the people that really brought forth the spiritual journey, in so many ways. Like there's so many amazing elders, like you, Kelley. You don't look old, though, just elders, it's different.
I'm an elder. I'm
Yeah,
gonna say
exactly.
it.
Yeah, and I'm moving into being an elder too. And there are so many amazing elders out there. And one of the things I have loved in my astrology group at least are all the people I meet who actually respect that, kind of respect that knowledge, but you still look at everyone's got their own journey and you have to question any information anybody else gives you. But at the same
Yeah.
time, you can feel the truth of things. You can feel the truth of things. And I don't know if Haumea's
Well,
connected to that or if I'm getting off track, but
well, we're exploring more deeply at the moment
yeah.
that Haumea Pluto connection
Mm,
and what it means for our group, but a group that
yeah.
has had a lot of leadership just from the sheer numbers of us
Yeah.
in the culture, and that we do
Yeah.
have this like necessity to express who we are. And
Yeah.
sometimes we have to act it out to know. I've apologized to people for bad behavior at times, but
Called
also,
being
we
human.
live, yes, call it human. So we've
Yeah.
been through more Pluto sign changes than any other group, pretty
Mm-hmm.
much.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe the Pluto and Cancer people.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and we have also, um, it's that old army motto from back in the day called "Be all you can be." That really,
Yeah.
and follow your heart, follow your
Yeah.
bliss.
Yeah.
And we really have
Yeah.
led the way and that's the challenge, at certain points is to embody that wisdom and pass the torch. So yeah, and Haumea is the birthing. It doesn't want to recreate, it wants to create the
Yeah.
new. And we
Yeah.
are at that point right now. We are creating the new. We don't want to
Totally.
rehash the past. And so, when we do the fuller presentation, and I have some slides to share and more about what I've learned about, been learning about the culture of Hawaii and its history,
Yeah.
and just really appreciating that it's kept that lineages from way back and also their own culture and lifestyle as much as they've been able to. So it's and not that I know a lot about it, but we will look into it and also certainly discuss the Pluto Haumea interface and her daughters. So she has three daughters at least, probably way more. But Pele, the volcano goddess, is one of her daughters. And then Haumea has two moons, which are named for other daughters. One of them is Namaka, which is a very powerful water spirit. I mean, they're
Mhm.
powerful waters in those in that part of the world, in those
Yeah.
around those islands. And then the other goddess is Hi'iaka, a beloved hula goddess. She invented the hula. And hula is such an in like it's just part of the culture. It's part of that creativity that is co-created with the land itself. And it's the storytelling art. It's it's a body art. It's a dance. And this is an intimate part of the culture is expressed by hula. So has so much to do with that. So again, not that I know a whole lot about it,
Yeah.
but I want to share what I do know and see what other people are experiencing too with this Pluto Haumea. It's still ongoing for a little bit. So we're still in this Pluto Haumea square, but it's definitely in the Aquarius Scorpio now. Um, and Haumea is not going to let us disengage like sometimes Aquarius can do and get all heady.
Yeah.
Haumea and Scorpio is not going to let us do that.
I love that. I love that. And the hula, I mean, that sort of speaks without words to me. It's just
Yeah,
the fact that it is working on that deeper energy level, and also it's
yeah.
from the
And the
heart.
language itself does that too.
Does
The
it?
language is very complex. Each
Okay.
syllable in can mean different things depending on how you pronounce the word or what follows what. And again, I don't understand that too much, but
Yeah.
I understand it from working with ancient Vedic mantras that have seed syllables that they put together. And the combination of those seed syllables can rewire our brains. So I think
Wow.
there's something in the Hawaiian language that may be
Yeah.
somewhat similar and
Yeah.
carries that ancient wisdom. And some people call it light language.
Is amazing. That's fascinating. I want to go and learn it now. It's probably very difficult to get the actual syllable correct if you weren't brought up with that sound, but
Well,
yeah,
you can
that's
start with Haumea.
Haumea.
Haumea, they
Haumea.
pronounce, my understanding is they
Oh,
pronounce each vowel, they pronounce each letter. And
okay.
then you can move on to Lelea Kuhonua if you want, which took me a while. And other languages are like that too. So
Yeah.
so anyway, and that's part
Right.
of it. It's a
Yeah.
different wiring of the brain kind of
Yeah.
thing.
Wow. Thank you for sharing that. That's just given a whole other dimension to, language as part of it too. And
Yeah, that's just been coming up for me lately.
yeah,
Yeah, I've been listening to, other people are talking about Haumea, and one of them
yeah,
is uh, Keone Hanale, who is a
yeah.
Hawaiian,
Hmm.
and he's been talking about it in really interesting ways.
Really?
So, yeah, so the whole Haumea. So anyway,
Right.
as more of us get interested, we'll be discovering
Yeah,
more.
yeah,
And, Alan Clay has been introducing this in his own, in a
mhm,
different way than
yeah,
I do, but also very valuable to look at your own
yes,
placement and
yeah,
look at your transits and look at, how you've been experiencing it so far. So, um,
yeah.
yeah, so thank you for the invitation
Okay.
to
Ah,
share what I know with your group. And this is just a little taste of what we'll be sharing.
we've already spoken longer than we said we would, so a bit. So, I mean, obviously, this is a huge, it's a huge topic. And just from Haumea, I'm going to try and pronounce every syllable now. Haumea. Um,
That
alone, you
sounds
could
good.
probably, it's like a kernel that if you went and explored it, could open the universe. That's how it feels. That's how it feels. Yeah,
Yeah.
just from that one. So I'm really grateful, Kelley, that you have agreed to speak for us and really looking forward to that. And also, I don't know how to pronounce his name. I've seen him talk about ferns. Is that the same person talking that does the fern? He works with
There
ferns.
is a fern thing in Hawaii, but I'm not
Yeah.
sure Keone
If
does it.
yeah,
I'm not quite
yeah,
sure
I
if
think
his
he
full.
might. Keone.
Okay.
Yeah, okay. Well, I'll get his name and put it up for people to look at, and I certainly will be. And I just want to thank you for taking time off when I know how busy you are right now. So,
I think sometimes it seems like
when
I'm
you
busy
run
when I
around.
am, but that's not true. I need to be honest that I am working a lot because I love it. I
Yeah,
love astrology, and
yeah,
it's nice to be in
yeah,
a field where you really don't need to retire.
exactly. That's how I feel. I just love it. At times, I realize I need to kind of go and do something else in order to get some
Yeah.
balance. Probably because I
It's
get too
always
much in
been
my
that
head.
way for me. Yeah,
Yeah,
always been that way for me.
yeah. But no, I will never leave astrology. This life, no doubt, last life and the next, I'd say.
Yeah, but I think you were referring to this a little earlier in some of your comments, is like where astrology is changing.
Yeah,
And so
yeah,
how we're relating to it
yeah.
and experiencing it and I don't even know. I mean, it is a language and we do interpret it, but it's not all tied up with a neat bow like we would have maybe liked, which is just
Exactly.
as well
Yeah,
because we are changing, the times are changing, our consciousness is changing, and these planets
yeah.
or energies in the Kuiper belt are inviting us into this new level of consciousness. So yay.
Exactly. And that's real. So even though, of course, we look through our personal lens, we look through our subjectivity, but then we also, share that broadens as we share that with other people and share their perspectives. But in the end, it's really about connecting with that energy and about knowing yourself. And yeah, I'm going to go and look back and try and just, rather than kind of, like I say, have instant sentences, I'm going to go back and just try and feel how the energy of
Mm.
Haumea may have been working at sort of big times in my life. And, yeah. And sort
Yeah,
of
it's
like
like
the
how
unnoticed.
I
Yeah.
how I was experiencing those waves,
Mm.
and
Yeah.
that's how I was experiencing that the really
Yeah.
strong and deep waters are
Yeah.
definitely Scorpio.
Yeah.
And one of the ingresses of Haumea into Scorpio was within a day or two of Kilauea erupting after a long, quiet
Yeah.
time. So,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah.
That description of the waves, that's just amazing. I can see it, and the great ocean coming in, and Pluto drawing it out, and the ocean coming in, and I mean, of course, Hermea must be related to every element because she is a create. You can't be the creator of everything else if you're, and that's another thing that we don't have time to talk about that now,
Exactly.
but that the fact that we're no longer just relating these to one element and we're not kind of putting them into a box, like, because we can't, because they're actually about how all the elements work together.
Yes.
And
Yes, that
yeah,
is certainly part of
yeah,
the quantum consciousness. Yeah,
yeah,
I think so
yeah,
too. So
I like
that's
it.
the fifth element.
Oh, is it? Ah, so finally, I was wondering what the
I
fifth
think
element was.
so. Well, the fifth element is ether,
Yeah,
and it is out of which arise all the four physical elements. So,
thank you for
yeah,
clarifying that.
yeah.
Right.
Okay, well, thank you
Good. Well,
so
thank
much.
you, Kelley. Yeah, thank you. It was lovely to see you. I'm going to turn the recording off now. Don't forget, guys, check out the Astrology Collective if you want to come along to Kelley's talk in about 4 weeks. See you then.
Yes.